Good afternoon. My name's Liz Rowlinson, a property journalist for Place in the Sun, and I'm here for Place in the Sun Revisited with Sue and Pete. Hello.
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 Hi. For any of you who might not have quickly swapped over from Channel 4, Sue and Pete were property hunting in the Paphos area of Cyprus for a full-time home at some point with a budget of £250,000 for sort of 3-4 bedrooms, a pool. So how did they get on? Well, thank you for coming to talk to us again, guys. Your episode was, well, it was about a year ago when you were filming, wasn't it? It was September 2020, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was first week.
So a lot has probably happened since then. So tell me, how did you, who was it that got you to go on the show?
It was me. I wrote in. We'd been to Paphos. I forget when it was, but Pete was on the way back from the restaurant, and he suddenly said, "You know what? I could live here." And I said, "Right, we need to start looking and thinking about this and planning for it." And I watched The Place in the Sun all the time. It's just brilliant. So I thought I'll write in and see if they can help. And that was about 18 months before we actually got the call.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Yeah, and then
the pandemic happened. We didn't film for ages, and then we opened up again. Yeah, I see. So you've never looked at properties in Cyprus. You've never been sort of nosing around while you were on holiday or anything like that.
We did that. We sort of, walked past the doors and went through the estate agents' windows, and even met with an estate agent. It wasn't serious. I was trying to push Pete into actually looking at it as a potential thing that we could do, rather than just keep talking about it. Because he kept saying, "Yeah, we'll do that," never getting around to it. So I thought, no, you need some galvanization into actually doing something now. So that was
it's usually the woman who gives the push in that direction.
I would just like to say I wasn't forced into this.
No.
Although she was very careful about breaking the news of going on the show.
How did she, very selective, her timing or something? Well, tell me, how much notice did you get as well?
Timing was absolutely crucial. We were having a really nice day out, and as we were driving from one place to another, she just very, very quietly started a conversation about Place in the Sun, and then said, "Oh, by the way, I got an email the other day." So timing is crucial with me, I think.
Yeah, very wise. So then she said, "What? You're going next week or something?" What was the next stage?
Pretty much, it was fairly swift. We got the call saying, "Can you?" I think we were on holiday in the middle of August, and they said, "Can you come out in September?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm sure we can do that. It's short notice, but we'll do fine." And then we got a call that said, "Can you come out next week?"
Yeah.
So we went, "Oh, let me just check with my calendar." And actually we could, even though we're on holiday. And the filming started the Friday before we left. We
had just got our dog, and it was, I suppose, just before the real lockdown, or just after, in between lockdown 1 and lockdown 2, and we took the opportunity for a staycation down in West Wales, and we had the boys with us, and we took the dog, little puppy, and we sort of got this call to say, "Do you mind coming out middle of September?" Well, it was all right, because it was August, and we could finish up our holiday. We could go through all the things, because we had to sign contracts and all sorts of paperwork business. And then we got a phone call saying, "Oh, can you come a week earlier?" Yeah, everything was okay. We could still do that. We had a week to do everything while we were home. And then we got another call saying, "Can you come out at the end of August?" And we thought, what? So we had to do everything while we were away on holiday,
including buying clothes.
Yeah.
Ready for the program.
Oh wow, okay.
So
and because you're retired, Pete, aren't you? Am I right in thinking that?
Yeah, I've retired from full-time educational work, which is what I was doing, and I now do a bit of part-time work. auditing qualifications within colleges and things.
Okay. And Sue, you're still working.
Oh
you
yes, I've
mentioned.
got quite a responsible full-time job, so it was it was a time to make a decision as to, do I retire early? Do I ask if I can work out there? With the pandemic, of course, people were working from home, so that was a possibility. So we started to think very seriously, very quickly about what we'd actually doing. So, but we went out there looking with the intention that we would move, and we would move in the short term rather than the longer term. So
Okay, well, look, let's have a look at the clip to remind ourselves of the intro.
Sue and Pete, good morning and welcome back to Cyprus. What's it like for you two to be back?
Love it. Absolutely love it here.
What is it that attracts you to the area around Paphos?
I think it's quieter. It's a little bit more family orientated.
It's the views, it's the people, it's the foods, the culture.
It's a permanent relocation to Cyprus.
It is. Yeah.
What's brought this about?
He's taken early retirement and it works. I'm working to fund his hobbies and I want to take retirement.
So that's it, the plan is to come out and retire here?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a bit happier with her working to keep me in my retirement.
To keep you in the manner to which you've become accustomed,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
How do you think you'll spend your days?
Golf,
Don't know what. You go
Golf.
golfing.
scuba diving.
Really?
Yeah.
Anything else?
I used to ride horses an awful lot and I'm hoping in my downtime I might be able to get back to doing that here.
So what are you looking for in terms of location?
That's our compromise. I want the mountain, Sue wants the sea.
As long as I can see it in the distance, I'll be happy.
And in terms of the properties, have you got any specific requirements?
I like a single-storey villa. Sue's a bit more traditional. She likes bedrooms upstairs.
So why is it you're not keen on stairs?
But I got arthritis in my right knee
Oh, okay.
and I've got a false left knee. My belly's not getting any smaller.
Well, maybe you need the stairs.
Maybe so.
Nah, let's walk along the flat.
But we need 3 bedrooms because I've got my boys are grown, so
Right,
they need
that's
their own
fine.
space. Plus we've got already people booking in from Australia.
We do need a bit of
Great
outside
things.
space for
For
our
the
little
dog,
boy.
yeah.
And a pool, private.
For your skinny dipping.
Please, goodness, yes.
What about amenities? Do you need to be close to anything in particular?
Within walking distance, I think, of at least a shop.
Let's talk about the budget, shall we? So it's £250,000?
Yes.
If we needed to stretch that budget to get what you wanted, what's the maximum you could go up to then?
Probably 270.
270. Your first purchase together, and hopefully your forever home.
Yeah.
So we've got to get it right, haven't we?
Yes, you do.
So should we make a start?
Lovely, yes,
Yes.
please.
Yeah. Follow me.
Brilliant. So with a budget of £250,000, you'd obviously worked out that was you could get something for exactly what you sort of wanted for that sum of money. I think mortgages are very hard to get in or impossible to get in Cyprus. So I presume you knew that and etc.
Yeah, well, we were going to sell up here, buy something small, and then go over there with a pot of money. So there would be no mortgage involved. It would be just a plain sort of financial purchase, which obviously you get a better deal, I would imagine, sort of that way.
Yeah, we're very fortunate. We live in a very nice area and a very sought after area. And we literally put our house on the market and it was sold within hours.
Yeah.
And we were offered
Wow.
over our asking price. So from our perspective, we had no problem. It just needed to be completed.
When was that it went in within hours?
Oh, it was about,
Last summer?
Yeah, the week after we got back. We just said, right, on the market. It was gone in literally. We had 5 people round and an offer within 2 hours of them being round.
Gosh. So and then well, we're going to come and see the property you ended up buying. Are you living somewhere else now? Did you have to get a sort of a smaller place until you go and live in Cyprus?
That was the plan, but it became an extremely difficult thing to do because everything was happening during the lockdowns, which meant that there was nowhere available. People weren't offering properties for rent or short-term, long-term, anything.
Right.
We tried to move into a holiday home, short-term, local, and the government in Wales had shut holiday rentals. So literally everything was locked down, and we were faced with the possibility of selling the house and having nowhere to go.
And also Brexit was coming up, and our solicitor in Cyprus, I mean, she was absolutely outstanding. But, you know, even she couldn't answer what's going to happen after Brexit. She just said, I don't know. I just don't know. So we started to get a bit worried, but we were still ploughing ahead. We'd organised the container to come over and ship all our stuff and moving dates and things. But about a fortnight before, week before, we were about to exchange and move. Buyers further down the chain just fell out. They just literally dropped out of the whole thing. So we were left.
They came up with an excuse, which made the purchase impossible from our perspective, because we had the removalists coming the following week, and the demand was that we completed the previous week, which meant that not only didn't we have anywhere to go, but we didn't have anywhere to put our stuff.
It just became impossible. So with the pressure of Brexit, COVID, because it was still in the lockdown, it hadn't come out. We just said, this is all just getting too much. So having lost the buyer, we just said we're just going to pull back. We sat and thought, do we continue to sell and buy something small here? And we just said, let's just pull back. We've lost the buyer, and let's really think what it is we want to do. Our plans are still to go out there and retire, but we're choosing our time now when it's easier to do so.
Left with the unenviable position of phoning the estate agent in Cyprus and saying we can't complete. We've since made up friends with them.
We lost our deposit. It wasn't a big deposit, but we lost it, and we knew that would happen. But they've been extraordinarily good and said if we buy through them the next time, then they'll transfer that deposit to the next house. And the other thing we've thought is that we've been back since, and we had a good look round again, and we thought, right, when we come out here, it's a move straight over here or over there, beg your pardon, and we'll up our budget to buy something up in the hills.
Okay, gosh. So yeah, you didn't even you didn't end up buying property number 2, I think it was.
No.
Oh.
It broke my heart, because I planned we're going over there, that's where we're going to live, and we knew the people in the area, and I just had to let it go when we lost our buyer. There was nothing much I could do. So
it took a bit to get over. We were disappointed.
Very.
We came back from the week we spent out there with yourselves, and we were really excited about the future. We'd sold all our furniture here or given it away, because that's not a bad thing, Mike.
It came with furniture over there, so we had nothing apart from our bed, sofa in the house. At the point,
because
I'm a minimalist.
I was thinking, you were Sue. It was so emotional when you were in the property. You felt that was it.
I know. I actually walked through that door, and I thought, I can actually see myself living here. And it dawned on me that it was a move I could make, and that house, that style of house, was exactly what we were looking for. Mm-hmm. Because it's Mandria. I really, really, really like Mandria.
Right.
Whether that's where we go back to next time or not.
Yes.
But it just felt right. Everything felt right. I had a real feeling of emotional, so just connection to it.
We've stayed in a few places when we've been over in Cyprus. On the western side, I should say, Iron Apple, I've got to admit, has never appealed to me.
Somewhat in the wrong age bracket.
But the area around Iron Apple is beautiful,
apparently,
isn't it?
Apparently so.
Beaches,
yes, and I'm determined to go that side to find out why I don't like it. But when we've been, the first time we went, we were staying just outside of Limassol.
Yeah.
And we took a trip to Paphos to see all the ruins. And I think that sparked our interest in Paphos area to start with, because both of us are very keen on the history and the culture and the archaeology that surrounds Paphos. Plus, we took a trip up to the Troodos. Well, the Troodos are very easy to get to from Paphos district.
Well, anyway.
Yes.
And we also like the north side of Paphos district, which is Polis.
Yes.
And, oh, help me out here.
Oh, the peninsula, Akamis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That we really enjoy. And we like the mountains, we like the sea, etc., etc. So when we've been going back, we've been staying in different areas, and we stayed in Mandria with some friends of ours for a week, and we got to know the locals in the village, and it just felt like a Cypriot village.
Yes.
And that's what we're keen on. We're not that interested in the towns and the city type areas and the more built up areas. We like the village areas, and Mandria just felt really nice and comfortable. You could walk into Mandria, you could sit, you could have your coffee, you have your glass of wine or your beer, and walk home. It's a little walk down to the beach if you wanted that. It was just the right spot. We know it's not above the humidity line, which is another big thing in Cyprus, but that area felt homely, which is where I first said, you know what, I could live here.
And even though it wasn't a one-story villa, it had steps, you were willing to make that compromise.
Steps, yes, the dreaded steps, yes.
because of the situation. I mean, there's a social media sort of community page there, mostly expats, but other nationalities as well, which really made us feel welcome. You know, the people on there were really, really helpful in terms of making it feel like I wouldn't just be moving blind. You know, there was a community.
There is, from what I can gather, yeah. And so have you've been out since the filming, from what you've just said, then, have you?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So it's kind of set in motion, your plan. It wasn't, you know, it was useful progress in honing your search.
It was brilliant.
It did what Sue wanted it to do. It focused me.
It's our only plan for retirement now. You know, it is what we will do. There's no ifs, no buts. That's where we're going to be. It's about time now.
So when are you going to go out next?
Well, because of the pandemic, we've had holidays postponed left, right, and centre. So we've got 2 to take in far-flung places next year. We're going back to Australia if they open up, and then Thailand. So after that, it's probably not going to be until about September before we get to go over there.
But we have people out there, friends out there that have moved, that have offered us accommodation, which is always a good thing.
And people looking out for us. They're saying, oh, we know what you're looking for. They're looking for houses. They're sort of, you know, when I say, oh, I've seen one, they'll go and drive around it and say if there's a community about it. So, you know, we've got our spies on the ground so that we're ready. Because we look at them all the time online, but you can't get a feel until you stand in the house.
No, and they also find out, you know, they find some little gems that are not necessarily online that local agents have. So you said you were going to up your budget a bit.
Yes.
Is that what? Yeah,
we're prepared to. Yeah.
No, we're going to up our budget. We found a really nice. we did look around the Sea Caves area last time we were there. St George.
Yeah.
And the houses I liked, and the house that we really liked, but we're not in a position.
Was a one-story villa.
It was a one-story villa.
Right.
And it was lovely, and that was about 350,000, I think. And
euros.
We would have bought that. We would have bought that.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, apart from anything else, it was on 1/4 acre, and it had loads of opportunity to put extensions and sheds in, which is what I'm after.
So, you know, you know, that going out there with the team, who I've got to say, they were brilliant. You know, there was that fear that they're making a programme and we'll just be, you know, people on the show. But they were brilliant. They listened to what we wanted. They researched everything. They changed something overnight to a house that they, you know, wasn't on the schedule. And they were brilliant. That sort of really making us think about what's around in the area. What did we actually want? Why did we want it? And, you know, showed us things that we didn't think we wanted.
Yeah, which is a good of a job estate agent or researcher, I guess. And Pete, I think you were slightly shocked that so many hours of filming went into a short. It was quite a prolonged affair.
Well, it was longer than normal because of COVID.
Yes.
So
Oh,
we
right.
had to keep the distance, which meant that you couldn't do the close-up shots that have been done in the past, which makes it easier for them to do the show. They had to, every shot taken took 4 takes as a minimum, which surprised me a little bit, but they explained why. We had to take one normal shot, one wide shot, one shot over our shoulder, one shot over Jasmine's shoulder, and we had to remember what we said each time. That was Jasmine, bless her, was brilliant because she remembered everything that was supposed to be said. So she was helping us along on that quite a bit.
It didn't feel like
well, also it was so close to her heart, being it, you know, she's obviously got Cypriot blood, and it was such a brilliant sort of emotional ending of it, but was obviously not completely the ending we now know, but yeah,
it was the end at the time.
Yeah,
there was the end at the time. So and yeah, I suppose the ending was what it was. But I
was going to say, I was very impressed with your very hardball negotiation. You know, you weren't going to budge. It was very impressive.
I've been in and around the construction and built environment sector for decades. I know what a property is. I know what is right with it. I know what's wrong with it, and I know what it's worth. And if it's worth that much to me, I've got 2 things I look at. One, I always appreciate that there's somebody on the other end trying to sell and get the best price that they can. But a property's only worth what it's worth. And to me, that's what it was worth. And it didn't matter what anybody else wanted or what anybody else said. And as I explained, I don't know whether it came across on the show or whether it was something that was edited out, but I was quite blunt when they said,
it's not like him at all.
Do you think you could up your offer? It's not, but you were prepared to go a little bit more and things like that. And I said, no. You've got to accept, you're here to make a show, and I accept that, but this is our life, and if I was doing this without you, this is what I would do, so this is what you get.
Plus we calculated, you know, the sort of the taxes, the moving, everything else that came into it, so the budget was actually more than what we offered, so we had to factor that in as well. So
plus there were things that we knew we had to do to make it suitable for us and our dog,
who's jumping up,
who's trying to get in on the show, and I also knew that there was work that needed doing to the house that hadn't been done completely, and I just took that money off what I was prepared to pay, and that's what I came up with.
There's quite a bit of structural work. The sea air which had eroded the.
I don't know whether it comes across in the show, but I did say as we were going through the show why that was the case, that when you're buying something by the sea, and the houses that are built over in Cyprus are reinforced concrete, and the sea air affects them. And unless you do certain remedial work on a regular basis, it gets in, and once it's in, it's got to be hacked out, and that's a lot of work and it's expensive. So and there was patches of markings on the roof that and coming through to the ceiling that and I knew what they were, and I'm not sure anybody else really knew, which is why sometimes I think they got a little bit frustrated with me when I kept pointing things out. But
well, that's a pointer for anyone looking to buy a similar property in Cyprus. So, well, clearly you that one's gone, and someone else has. Do you we think someone else has bought it? It's off the market.
Yeah,
maybe.
past the house.
I don't know whether you're carrying on looking online to see if it's still there.
No, we asked the
No.
estate agent when we went back out, and they said, no, that got sold. And we actually drove past there just to have a look and, position ourselves a bit. And there was somebody in there. So
Okay.
I just had to heave a deep sigh and move on.
Well, I mean, the good news is that when you actually do find a place, it's it's not going to be, it's one of the easiest places to sort out your residency after Brexit. When you buy a property, you can get residency, and it's we learned that we've been doing seminars on buying in Cyprus at our recent exhibition. So I hope that will be the easier bit for you once you found your property.
I'm looked into that. It's straightforward.
I'm an Australian citizen with permanent UK residency, so I was always going to have to apply as a third party rather
Non-EU.
than
Yeah.
non-EU. So we already knew the processes that we needed to go through with that. But of course, Sue was born in Germany.
So I might get EU residency. So we're just exploring that at the moment to see if I
could
can
end up with a
Well,
German
that could be
passport.
something that plays into it at your advantage. Yes.
Although,
well, look,
it's not that difficult, as you say, to get the residency. It's straightforward, and there's plenty of help. So.
Yeah, and it's becoming more clearer and clearer. And there was a lot of interest in Cyprus at our autumn exhibition. So I think it's definitely come back in. People are very keen to go do what you're doing. So thank you very much for coming back and telling us about it, and best of luck with your search when you get back out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
for the
you.
opportunity. Thank you.
Best of luck.